Let's kick off the show by talking about pharmaceutical companies. Wockhardt is the first management that we have. The company presented its phase 3 clinical trial for the antibiotic Nafithromycin 400 mg, which is a drug used for pneumonia, before the CDSCO committee, which is the Indian regulator. And an approval is probably expected in the next couple of weeks and could be introduced into the Indian market in the next couple of months itself. We have with us Habil Khorakiwala, who's the chairman of Wockhardt, joining in to discuss this. Mr. Khorakiwala, welcome to the show, and thank you for joining in again, because the last time you were on the show, we did discuss how one of your molecules did show a lot of efficacy in terms of meningitis. But today we are discussing, how Nafithromycin was presented in front of the CDSCO. Phase 3 data, I understand. Give us a sense in terms of what was the outcome of that meeting.
We presented this data. We completed clinical trial phase 3 sometime in April. And it was earlier phase 1 and phase 2 trial was done in US and Europe. And the phase 3 we did it in India, and New Drugs Subject Expert Committee of CDSCO has recommended Nafithromycin, that is McNaF, for pneumonia. And pneumonia is one of the big problems in India worldwide. Normally, globally, about 2.3 million people die every year because of pneumonia. And 23% of that is nearly 600,000 in India. So our drug is a short-acting, very ultra short-acting treatment of 3 days. It is a tablets. It is given orally, and it has a 97% success rate. Today, the existing drug, like azithromycin, has a resistance of 50 to 60%. That clavulanic acid combination also do not work on atypical pneumonia, which is around 40% of cases. So from this point of view, this is a life-saving and very important oral antibiotic.
Okay, so just to get this, into perspective, you've finished your phase 3, you've submitted the data to the CDSCO. Now, when exactly do you get final approval for this particular drug, Nafithromycin, for pneumonia? And when would it potentially be launched in the Indian market? And what is the market size of it?
We expect this approval to come in next few weeks, actually, because DCGI takes little time to look at other data and give an approval. And whatever queries they have, we have responded. So we expect in next few weeks to get a formal approval from DCGI. And we expect to market by the beginning of next 25, that is around in early January. It will be in the market. It's a very significant size of the market because the specialists and the consultants do not have proper treatment for treating pneumonia. And there is a big vacuum because this drug is coming after nearly 30 years. And there's roughly about 18 million cases of pneumonia in India. So from all these perspectives, it's a fairly significant medical unmet need we are fulfilling. And then to very ultra short treatment of 3 days.
Okay. All right. Well, just hold that thought, Mr. Khorakiwala, because we do have visuals coming in of the Navi Mumbai airport runway, where we do have the Indian Army plane which has landed there, the Indian Air Force plane which has landed there. So those are the visuals, which are fresh visuals, which are coming in. So interesting, considering that we will be having a new airport eventually. Indeed. And I think that would be extremely good for the ancillary businesses as well. But in any case, Mr. Khorakiwala, if you could just get back to the discussion with regards to this particular molecule, Nafithromycin, just give us a sense in terms of the other geographies where you have applied for the drug for Nafithromycin. And if it is showing so much efficacy for pneumonia, when are you probably expecting approval in other markets? Give us a timeline and maybe even any kind of out-licensing opportunity for this one.
The other market, one of the Saudi Arabia Saudi Arabia have accepted this drug as a breakthrough medicine. And we would be applying to them, and we expect to get approval in next 6 to 9 months there after our approval in India. And similarly, as you know, we have received QIDP status, but currently we are not looking at the US market for this molecule. But certainly we would be applying into all the emerging markets. And we expect the approval to come in the next year or so.
All right. Hi, Mr. Khorakiwala, and thanks a lot for speaking to us here on CNBC-TV18. This is Nigel on this side. I missed the size of the drug. What is the total sales potential that you see coming out of this drug?
As I mentioned, in India, there are 18 million pneumonia cases, and it is an unmet medical need. So it would be fairly, we are working on the potential, but I think one is looking at something around in 3 to 5 years, 400-500 crore potential only in India.
Only in India. So 400 to 500 crores is what you're expecting in terms of a size for Nafithromycin only in the Indian market. Then I'm sure you'll have, Mr. Khorakiwala, I'm sure you'll have a lot of suitors, considering that you do have a patent on this drug. If you can give us a sense in terms of the patent, how long does it last? And two, whether companies like Indian pharmaceutical companies or even global pharmaceutical companies are interested in tying up with you for Nafithromycin.
See, our patent lasts in different countries, slightly different, but in India it lasts around 32 or so. And another 2-3 years is extended in many other countries, the patent. So there is a fairly long period of time. As far as India is concerned, we intend to market it ourselves basically. And also same true in emerging market. We are not really looking for a licensing option today, but we will explore this a little later for the Western market.
Okay, so out of all the molecules that you do have in your portfolio now, Mr. Khorakiwala, we've discussed WCK 5222, we've discussed WCK 6777. Give us a sense in terms of the molecule that you think has the most potential and will probably be first on the list to get monetized.
Actually, as you can see, this nickname for Nafithromycin is the first getting monetized because as we will be launching in January itself. As far as the 5222 is concerned, as you know, we are taking clinical trial in a couple of months. So it is likely to get monetized in later part of FY25 in India. And maybe in FY26 in the global market.
All right. Appreciate you joining in, Mr. Khorakiwala, in fact, giving us all of those insights on that new drug. But before we let you go, yesterday we had the sad demise of Mr. Tata. Wanted to know if you have, conversed with him, you'll had any kind of dealings, given that both of you all have that common aim, right, to the cancer, to the pharmaceutical sector. So some kind of interactions that you all could have had.
Yeah, I think Mr. Tata's loss is a great loss for India. He was one of the tallest leaders, both as a human being and what he has done for Indian industry, business, and also establishing certain kind of benchmark in terms of the ethics and the quality one should have. I had an interaction with him several times. In fact, we bought a company in 90s, Marine Pharmaceutical from the Tatas at that time. And I remember after 5 or 7 years, he thought that he regretted that he sold that company to us because that was his perspective on the healthcare subsequently. But the amount of work Tatas have done in cancer, both in Mumbai, Calcutta, and everywhere, is enormous. And one could say that it has become a benchmark for ordinary people to get it treated in the Tata's cancer facilities, wherever they have been present. And they have invested both, not in terms of money, but qualitative resources also in terms of people and others. And I know from my colleagues in medical profession, they would like to work in the Tata's Institute because the kind of knowledge and experience they can gather is enormous.
Sure. Absolutely, Mr. Khorakiwala. It's a benchmark of excellence when it comes to Tata's and, the kind of work that they've done in cancer care. Thank you very much for joining in and speaking with us and sharing your thoughts on Mr. Tata as well as your new molecule, which you have received an approval for from the CDSCO. We'll take a short break, but up next, Sudeep Shah will join in to discuss the technical. Stay tuned.